Hey guys, got the sure a lot of you heard if you follow rock music about the death of Scott Weiland. Um, can honestly say that I was a pretty big STP Stone Temple Pilots fan. Still am, always have been. Seen him many times throughout the years. Saw Velvet Revolver when Weiland was a singer for those guys. Uh, it's kind of a bad deal. Pretty sad day if you're a fan. Not a surprise, uh, but still a tragic thing. In the end, you're talking about a lot of you guys. Probably weren't even alive or very young. In the '90s when SDP was huge. There weren't a whole lot of bands any more famous. Weren't a lot of lead singers anymore recognizable or famous than Scott Weiland was. Even and back then, I still don't think they got enough credit for being you know the great band they really were, and Weiland didn't get enough credit for being the performer that he really was. He's a great performer, the guy. I mean, you can go on and check some of these compliments, and praises that things people are saying about him now and his death. Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, and just one guy, among many, who praised, Weiland as a front man, as a singer. The guy was an iconic, rock star back in the '90s. I mean, uh, and it's just a shame. I mean, he was obviously born to do what he did. I was a huge fan. I mean, I bought about everything he ever made and every band he was in. They after just about the third album, STP started kind of losing a little popularity. But you can buy all their albums, all six of the albums. I'm sorry, and they're all different. I mean, they all sound different. It shows you the range that Weiland had, and the things that he was capable of, and the band as well. I mean, these guys are great musicians. You know, go if you just listen to them. I mean, they all sound different. The third album, in the opinion of a lot of people, was one of the best albums, you know, of the '90s by far. I mean, that showed you what they were capable of, and ironically enough, like I said, that was the album that kind of turned people off to the band. The hardcore rock and roll guys, but it's like Billy Corgan, said. It really showed you their ability as musicians and their brilliance as musicians, and Weiland's ability and brilliance as a frontman. He was kind of a captivating performer. You kind of either loved the guy or you hated the guy, but uh, you know, um, it's a tough deal if you're a fan. I mean, uh, you know, granted, I mean, the last 5 years or so, kind of did his own thing. Popularity. I mean, he had his core group of fans, and certainly didn't have the amount of fame he had in the '90s. I mean, you talk to somebody now, listens to this, all the stuff that's popular today. I mean, they might not even know who he is. I get that. Things go in cycles. Uh, eventually the stuff that which I'm not a big fan of a lot of today's music. You know, top top 40 of the hip hop and everything. I mean, it is what it is. It's incredibly popular, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just not a fan of it. Rock has kind of died a little bit, and one of the great, uh, there's no great frontman anymore in rock and roll. But Scott was one of the last ones. He made you. If you saw those guys live, if you saw him live, I mean, you had to see these guys live. They're definitely one of the best bands live. And a big reason for that was Scott Weiland. The DeLeo brothers write some great music, some great, rhythms, and But Weiland, he's a finishing touch, and I like I said, when you go there, when you watch these guys play, or when you watched him in any band, be it STP, Velvet Revolver, whoever, you can't take your eyes off the guy. I mean, he was just that way. Um, and and the drug thing, I mean, it's a shame. I don't know, what he died of yet. I'm sure it was probably an overdose of some kind, whether it be cocaine or the guy was obviously into the heroin. Hopefully it wasn't heroin, but they didn't find any needles or anything like that in his trailer. So guessing it's probably cocaine overdose, or maybe the guy's had a heart attack. He lived a pretty hard life. He was a alcoholic and a heavy smoker. But back to what he did. I mean, listen to some of the music that he made, uh, some of the songs that he wrote, are some of the greatest songs. I mean, definitely in the '90s, and in my opinion, ever. To be honest with you, in rock and roll. I mean, I even get some hate on that, but guy was immensely talented. Granted, he didn't reach his full potential, and he may have cut all that short, with the bands because of his addictions and then his foray into the dark side, But he was a quintessential rock star. The guy was, like I said, an icon in the '90s, an absolute. Everybody knew who he was and the music, and you loved him or you hated him. But highly underrated. Go back and listen to even their last two albums. They're great albums. Um, they don't obviously don't sell. They didn't sell, but big deal. It doesn't mean they're not good albums. I think that he definitely has to go down as one of the greatest vocalists of all time. You know, a lot of these guys, in his passing, have talked about that, and you know, it's too bad that a guy has to die. For people to, to really remember him like that. But that's life. Anyway, to me, he's going to be missed. His music's going to be missed, and uh, you know, but you burn the candle at both ends, so to speak. Things happen, and the good people die young, and the greats seem to die young. That is, so just a little bit of thoughts on Scott Weiland. All right, guys.